Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Laughing Stock. Happy Tuesday. It's a short week. Friday, we've got Good Friday off, so markets will be closed. So I'm hoping that if we do get BNED news, they have till April 3rd. So I was thinking they would do it on a Friday, but if being with the Friday that's coming up, probably not. But I don't know, maybe we'll do it Thursday night. Maybe we'll get some news. If not, till next week, whatever. And then they do have till April 10th, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, and it's been kind of quiet. That's why that's the name of the stream. Just trying to. I was going through some of the different companies that would possibly want to buy some of the MBS business. I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to say who would benefit the most from it and who. If people would kind of pick apart pieces of it, or try and buy the whole business all as one. I was trying to figure out how much cash some of them had to see who would be more willing to spend and push for those, and who would benefit really from having some of the market share essentially. And then the rest of the markets, I'm looking through. Doesn't look like too much is going on. I saw Canopy's up again. They've been skyrocketing. This has been probably the best run for them since for a long time now. Let's go to a shorter chart here. That's quite the run up there. We'll see if it holds. I mean, the news is still minor, at least in my opinion. I don't think there's. I mean, it's. I still think no matter what, we're heading in that direction. Whether Canopy is the right company or not, I don't know about that. MicroStrategy is still going crazy. This is another ridiculous. Sorry, my charts keep popping up on the wrong side here. This is another. I mean, that's a ridiculous chart too. Almost $2,000. That's crazy. But yeah, of the other stuff I'm looking at, I mean, Bitcoin's at 70, which is, it's still hanging in there. I was wondering if when it pulled back below and it got to the low 60s, if it was going to hold up, and it has. So I wonder if all those people would be gold bugs if Bitcoin didn't exist. Because I feel like gold has never really taken off like I would compared to Bitcoin or silver especially. Silver has always kind of been. Where's Oh my god, I don't know why it keeps opening everything over on that side. That's really annoying. If I go to this and pull these into there. Alright, hopefully that does it. I mean, it's okay, so it's been hitting some of the peaks, but this isn't the all-time peaks. But still, I mean, if you happen to time this perfectly, like down here at like 18 bucks, but still, I mean, you know, you're talking over a year course. It's not really been all that impressive. So, I don't know. Silver's just one of those things that's it's tough to play. I'd rather play like a minor or something like that if I was going to try and do something like that. Which, speaking of, how is SSRM holding up? Let me get rid of this one. Not well. Yeah, it's still in the bottom here, which we'll see. I think management was going to come out at some point. Obviously, they wanted to give some time and space after everything that happened, and we'll see if things become a little more bullish going forward. I think at this point, I think they're gonna get that mine back together. It depends on what Turkey does. Which I actually saw they were down today randomly. I don't know what the news is going on there. And I actually went through and picked companies for my daily movers and losers, which I honestly didn't find much. But I just updated my insiders, so I haven't gone through and seen anything or what's popped up recently on the insider buys. So I can go through those. And if especially if you guys have any tickers or anything you want me, I see there's a few people in here. If you guys want to throw me a ticker, please do, because I don't have a ton today right now. I just had went over team, which what did I think it is like fairly valued around there. So it wasn't that it's not interesting. It's just not cheap enough, at least for me. Just see if I can find anything in here. Lately, the insiders have been kind of disappointing for me. I'm not saying there isn't stuff that like I've looked at, but nothing is really. What does this chart look like? It's got down to 7. I mean, the insider buying's interesting. I'm going to peek just because that insider buying. I mean, it's a chunk of change. I got to see who it is, too. I mean, it could be someone that already owns a ton of shares and it doesn't mean so much, but they just bought here down at 7 when it was down below further than that. So we'll see what it does. Halidor, man. A bunch of healthcare stuff, and somewhere in here, I've already looked at some of these. Yeah, and then all the stuff below here I've recently looked at. Not like delving into, but like, you know, I've just looked through here. So it doesn't leave me with a ton of tickers. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have anything to add in, please let me know. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that's just like a decent. Wow, Cardalytics was down 33% today. Is that right? Oh, they had really skyrocketed. Oh, wow. Maybe I'll pull them in just... well, I don't even know if I need to pull them in. Let me just see what the news is on that. Let's... Announces... Oh, convertible senior notes offering. $150 million aggregate. Oh, actually, I hope you guys... Here, I'll zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see that a little better. What'd I do? Go back. I'll go one more time. That way you can really see it. All right, senior notes due 2029, 150 million, blah, blah, blah. An option to purchase for settlement within a period of 13 days. The notes will be senior unsecured obligations and will accrue interest semi-annually. Yeah, so I mean they just offered notes. Which how much did they have a ton of debt? What's their Z score here? Well, too far. Somewhere in here. Cardlytics, where were you? You were way down. Yeah, so they have a decent amount of debt. Surprised there's all this insider buying right before they knew they were going to give out convertible notes, unless they were getting convertible notes over, or they wanted both. CDLX. What did I have as my? I just wanted to see what my last price was that I put on them. I know I just looked at this. You'd think I'd be able to remember this stuff, and it's impossible. Oh no, I valued them way lower than that, so it's gonna need to plummet more than that. So we'll give it some time. Interesting concept though, but we'll give it more time. Yeah, so that only leaves me 4 companies to look through. I guess we can hop over to the fundamentals. Oh, I didn't enable these. Whoops. What am I doing? Quit clicking things. No, go away. Yep, go away. All right, so we'll refresh this here, and then I guess I can start cruising looking for BNED stuff too. If we fly right through these, I'll see if I can find anything new. I doubt it, but we can pull it up. I was looking at GameStop just because it's been a while, and I saw that they were bouncing around. The one thing, it's still crazy to me that when I look at BNED's balance sheet, they still have $852 million in cash. That's a lot of cash. Like, their debt's totally covered. I mean, I know the legacy business is, you can argue, is just kind of been sputtering along, but I mean, their margins are. Is this net income here? No, it's this one. So I mean, net income is almost break even. I mean, I don't have it worth, this is too expensive for me, so it doesn't matter, but it's just impressive that they still have that much amount of cash. But I guess with everything that happened, it's not surprising either. Like, they raised a lot of capital, and if management was able to capitalize somewhat on that, hopefully for them, good for them. So this is ICD, which is Independence Contract Drilling. I've looked at them before. They're small market cap. Let's see here. Provides land-based contract drilling services for oil and natural gas producers. Shell driller rigs. They're specifically engineered and designed to improve its clients' production profiles. I feel like I just looked at these guys not that long ago. When did I look at these guys last? Doesn't matter. So trading well below book, even if you discount it with the amount of debt, which they have a lot of debt. Just in terms of the cash they have. I mean, as long as that's actually debt, which I imagine it's mostly debt. Stop opening over there. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I've been opening everything on this side, so I don't know why it keeps wanting to go over to that one. I need a third screen. I think I should get a third screen. Like it's not even like it's expensive. I can just go buy a third screen. It's stupid that I don't. I don't know what I'm doing here. Long-term debt's 154. Yeah, so it's really all debt. When does that due? Convertible notes due March 2026. Whoa. That's a lot of debt due in 2026. And what's... And I doubt anyone's converting them right now. With a pretty high interest rate too. That's where all their money's going. And then what's their revolving? 40 million? Oh, you can't even tap that. I mean, that's slightly terrifying in of its own. And you know, they're diluting shareholders pretty heavily here, so I mean, cash flow is pretty good actually. And I mean, even this year on a capex basis, they're still positive for simple free cash flow. But let me see if anyone's... I don't mean to click owners, but I'll look at it now that I clicked it. Carlin. That's their entire thing. MSD Partners? I don't know if I know this one. They own Dish. I mean, they do hold value names. Clove, SoFi, iHeart. And just real quick, I just want to look at when I looked at these guys last. Oh, it has been a while. Wow. I was thinking, I swear, I just looked at these guys not even, I thought it was like a month or two ago. Which, you know, things must not be doing great because my previous calculation's gone quite a bit down, so. Well. Oh, actually, I have them ranked at 570, so I have them just shy of book value, and that's because they're generating still some cash flow. But they won't be generating that long if that debt becomes due. That's slightly concerning. Just slightly. Oh, Stabos is on this? I feel like I remember. When was these comments from? Do you know, I must have seen this. So it's been a while, really, since anything's happened here. And honestly, if he's talking that way about the article... I don't know how much I'm going to get out of reading this. Let's see if there's anything else going on in here. Oh, so when were those notes from? Was that old? Or no, that was for Cardlytics. So these guys also, everybody's throwing out convertible notes. Yeah. Minus 61 misses by 15. Revenue beat. Yeah, that's kind of what attracted me to them is the price to book here. It's really cheap on that. So they could merge with someone and he's talking about if they refinanced. I mean, the problem is they don't. They're not in a great position to refinance either, though. And actually knowing what those assets are worth, I'd have to dig in a little bit more just to see if I could figure out. They're generating EBITDA, and it is positive on a few years. It's pretty cyclical. Granted, 2020 was, it's kind of like that really drags all the numbers down, and that was just one really bad year for them because of COVID. So it's kind of like I wish I could just like cut that out. I would rather look at like a 3-year average, which still kind of includes that though. That's kind of a pain. I think there's something here. If they were to try and spin off or refinance, it does. It looks cheap. I'll say that. At 30, I mean at 30 market cap. Do they do a lot of merging? Not really. Spun off one thing or sold it, whatever they did. This is my big concern here is this being so negative that like you're really banking on some kind of spin-off there to stay afloat, which I mean whatever, if they got to do it, they got to do it, but I'm just going to throw an A on there and possible S and A for merger acquisition. Yeah, I was looking at the debt last time. I was saying it was due in 25 and 26. 570. So I get I get 570 as fair value, which obviously it's, I mean that's pretty high. So, you know, take that for what it is here. Let's do some quick calculations here. Somewhere in there. It's definitely not too expensive. I don't know why I have that in there. It must have. Did it really plummet on that chart? I kind of forget, to be honest. Well, maybe it was up around the $5 range last time I checked. It said last year. So yeah. So if I looked at it somewhere in here, it could have been probably on that bounce. That probably what caught my eye. I mean, this does seem really cheap though. Although that's a pain. I just missed whatever this little bounce is here. Is it $1.50? Now it's $1.96. It's kind of interesting at these prices though. I mean, that's really cheap. Yeah. Sorry, my dog is going nuts. Kyle! Shush! Sorry. I don't know why dog hears. The market cap's going up as we're watching this. Who's buying right now? Is someone watching this? I swear the price wasn't $2 and now it's $2. The markets aren't even open. What the hell's going on here? Is that... It doesn't update to when the post market closes, does it? I'm just kind of curious on how Excel stuff works. It doesn't update like that, does it? I mean, it rounded up, but still, okay, it ended at 196. I swear when I just looked, maybe it wasn't updated, but I had updated my spreadsheet right before I did the live stream, so I don't know. Unless I thought it said 30. Whatever. Oh, you know what? I didn't even truly dilute this like I should have. Let's see what this actually does. All right, so it puts it at $5. All right, whatever. Still $5 with the assets. Anybody buying this inside wise? Nah. This is all old though, 2022, so it doesn't really matter at all. I just want to go back to this one more time, and I know I just had it open. I should have just used that page, whatever. Try to see if I can. So they're still purchasing a lot of property or something. I mean, that debt's coming due, so they have to do something with. I mean, they're depreciating this pretty slowly. We went down. Is this in thousands? It must be. Yeah, okay, it is. So they got stuff they could sell. There's a lot of assets they could sell. Oh, okay. The appreciation's done down here. That's kind of tricky. Okay, but still, 348. That would cover the debt, right? I mean, so I mean, obviously it would kind of fundamentally hurt the business, but it raise. Oh yeah. So they'd cover everything. 156 is what it's at. So I see what they're saying. I don't know how big of a position I would take, but it is interesting. All right, I don't think I have much more to add to that one then. Just trying to think if I want to add it to my watch list. So I have cash left, but I just wanted to hold it just a little bit longer in case BNED does a rights offering, because then I wanted to make sure I could. I don't think they will. I don't think they need to. Speaking of selling assets, I think they got the assets to sell. But either way, I'll just keep an eye on it. We'll see what it does for the week. Pull up Graph Tech again. I know they were struggling last time I looked, but we'll see if anything's changed. I can't remember exactly what caught my eye, but there's another one with a lot of debt. Yeah, this last year was just terrible for him. Like, look at the 6% gross margin. Paying 2 cents a share. Hefty dividend right there. It's money well spent for this company that's got enough debt to drown themselves 5 times over. Yeah. Like, they're buying back shares right now, but and I get it, it's cheap, but I feel like you should be investing in somehow to raise cash. Like, That's what you need. Sorry, this isn't. I think my Excel froze here. Well, in the meantime, we'll go this way. Yeah, so they're just circling the bottom here. You gonna let me click around here? I don't know why it's not letting me move. I think I've had Excel do this to me where it is working. It just, you can't see it for whatever reason. Like if I click here, does it load something? Yes, it does. So, okay. So I just can't see what I'm doing. I don't know. Is there a way to get it to retract at my... If anyone knows how to... This is one of the stupidest glitches I see with Excel, where it all of a sudden won't show you what cell you're highlighted on, and you can't like adjust like up or down on things. If I click here, because like that should bounce me to one of the other pages. That's annoying. I might have to just save and close and reopen it. Ugh, stupid. All right, we'll just do it because I might as well while I'm on here, because honestly, there's not much I can do. But if you know how to fix this glitch, please someone put that in the comments, because this is one of the dumber ones that it's pretty rare I see this one, but it does happen. And I get it. My Excel sheets are, I mean, the dashboard's the worst one. That one's the biggest. The fundamental one gets pretty heavy if I have like 20 companies uploaded, but still, it's not that big of a deal. Somewhere in here, close it. While we're opening those up, we'll see if anyone's talking about it in the meantime. Appoints Timothy Flanagan as CEO. So new CEO today, huh? Today was down or up? Not really anything. The week's ugly. Down 17% for the week. Well, no one's looking at this on that news. All right, we're live. Well, I gotta open all three of these stupid things. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to really say what things are worth right now. I mean, that's big. No maturities until 2029. So if I could see my fundamentals tab, it would be super helpful, because then I would know actually what things were. All right, now enable refresh. Oh, is it even? It's not even. I'm on the wrong sheet. Refresh this one, not this one. I don't care about that one. Refresh. All right, there we go. Yeah, they had the 926, but okay. So when does that do? I know it said 2029, but is it all due in 2029? It's like my question. All right, 2020. Where does it say? Okay, these are due 2028. And that's... Oh, did they pay those off? Or is that saying... No, that's the 2020. Okay, so they got 500,000 due in 2028. So they have plenty of time in term. I mean, they have a few years to work on this, but... Yikes. All right. Yeah, what is go forward here for these guys? What are they saying here? Holder issues, updated letter seeks board change. Yeah, is there an owner? Like, is there anybody who could, like, you know, like snap this into something? These are kind of things like I'm trying to, you know, look into as I start to look into these ones that are pretty ugly. Like, is there anybody who cares? Is there anybody that's, you know, this is worth something to? I mean, you know. I mean, there's pretty large investors. 25, when it doesn't even say, so they must have been in. I'm assuming when this is blank, that means that they're early investors in these things. Or they're on, or does that mean they're on the board? Because there's this Nilesh there. If you know that, please put that in the comments. That would really help me out. Like, why is this net loss so large this year? I mean, it's kind of a cyclical business. They are selling, you know, a product, so. Proceeds from the issuance of long-term debt, net of origin issue discount. Got a lot of inventory stacking up now. It's interesting. Well, you know, obviously the one thing that really draws you in is that 2-cent dividend. That really really makes it all worth the while here. And then what I have, 223. At this point, this is going to need to turn around. what I said last time. All right, we'll just keep going. And really, this one just caught my eye because this massive insider buy. It's trading right around book. Spent a lot on CapEx this year. They diluted shareholders pretty heavily this year too. All right, this is a 10%er. See, this is the thing too. Is like, you know, they own 194 million and they bought 12 million shares. You know, so it seems crazy, but like 12 million shares for them, that's not really that much. It's not. I mean, it's not saying it's nothing, but. Let's see if anybody's talking about. Is there anything going on here? %28% of float is short, huh? Is that right? Yeah, it is right. 28% of the float, huh? Yeah, what is the price of natural gas doing right now? I haven't looked at that in a second. No. It's still low. Real low. Makes it interesting down here. Is there any correlation between... There's a 1-year chart. That's a 1-year chart. All right, let's see, 5-year and a 5-year chart. Is there... I know this doesn't like prove necessarily there's a correlation, but I like to just check it. Just I'd say they follow each other pretty close. And hey Josh, I just saw your comment. Yeah, I'll pull up WBD. While we're in here, I'll just get it loading, just so it's up. And you know, I'll just let you know, just you know, quickly from my perspective, it's a big company for me. Typically, in this portfolio, I tend to look at a lot of smaller companies just because I'm looking for pretty massive returns. But I'm happy to go through it. But just before I get lost here, I just wanted to finish up and see if I see anything in CRK. They do pay a 50-cent dividend now, which isn't bad. The only thing I really don't like is this ridiculous increase in share count. But it's definitely cyclical. So I think I'm going to change this to on deck. Just on the fact that it's worth just paying attention to it. If it's able to successfully sorry, I'm tripping on my words here. Follow natural gas, because if it does, I mean, this is pretty cheap on that basis. Not a real beautiful business or anything, but Josh says, yeah, definitely a large company. I'm still just getting used to, or getting into the style of investing, so trying to gradually increase my risk tolerance. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, it's important to, especially if you're just getting into it, you know, I think portfolio management's huge then, you know, making sure that you know, if you're unsure of these things, you know, you don't have to put big percents in, and then you can kind of like get a feel for how these things work. And then as you get more confident in some of these smaller names, then you can put a little bit more into each one and, you know, start to pick and choose and actually really generate some revenue. You know, like I said, my goal on the streams for 50% returns a year, 50 to 100% really. So, and you know, that's, like I said, it's kind of based off RK's style, but it is aggressive. But this is the place you can find companies that can easily, you know, within a year time frame, you know, double its value or more. I mean, you can find some crazy multi-baggers here. So, but all right, so let's hop into Warner Brothers, which I'm assuming everybody in here knows what Warner Brothers, and they're mixed with Discovery now. So just to give you an idea, though, you know, it's the studios, the networks, and the DTC, or direct to consumer. So they have a bunch of names under it now. So the DTC segment primarily consists of premium pay TV and streaming services. The company's brands and franchises include Warner Brothers, Motion Pictures, DC, HBO Max, Discovery, CNN, TLC, OWN, Warner Brothers, and Discovery Channel. So quite a few of like the big name brands in America, at least. It looks like there was one pretty big insider purchase, or from two people this year. I get fair value about $750 according to my. So to me, it's slightly above that. Now with a company this big, it's that valuation's kind of. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, that's what we were influenced by as RK. So, yeah, me and Johnny, we got the idea, and we wanted to build out the spreadsheets because I really appreciated his style. I mean, I know the whole GameStop thing took precedence, and that's what he's known for. But before that, you know, if you watch some of his initial streams, just the style of being able to find some of these smaller companies, and the goal is to get in before everyone else knows about it. You know, not once the name becomes big and popular. That's... Anybody can do that. You can follow the flow, but to get into these things when it matters. So I mean, they have an insane amount of debt here. I mean, $43 billion in debt. But the assets, you know, this comes down to the assets that they own. You know, the rights they own, the assets they own. I mean, share count is really went up. How much do they have in cash? 3. And some of that debt must be coming due right now. The past few years have been pretty rough on them. Now this might just be all the spending, but no, they generated $3 billion there. Do you know in 2022 what Yeah, I feel you on that, Josh. If I was following him like a month earlier, I would have gotten GameStop at like literally the perfect time. I got in it. I think the share price when I was really starting to understand what was going on and started buying in was like 12 or 13 bucks or something like that. It was a little teens, which don't get me wrong, I made great money during that initial. I didn't sell at the peak or anything like that, so I didn't make nearly as much as I could have, but it was a learning experience. It was a lot of fun too. Yeah, that was part of the thing. I wasn't ever. Johnny was the one who really pushed me to do the streams. Yeah, it's all good, man. That's part of the markets. You miss things. There's companies I look at, and then like a week later I go back to them, and that's part of why I built this database one out so I can try and keep track of things. When I put something on deck or in the watch list, then I have it even more specific so I can kind of whittle the list down so it's not so many companies, because I follow over 1,000 companies now. So just to stay organized. But yeah, I'll look at something and then like a week later it'll be up 100% and I'm like, oh my god, I totally missed it. But it's just trying to stay organized. It's like, life's busy and you got a million things to pay attention to. So I just want to see what price this insider bought. Is this a buying or an exchanging? Because it looks like these numbers are all the same. So I don't know. Who even knows what this means? This is probably not a real purchase, to be honest. When you see some of this weird stuff where it's like buy, sale, and it's all the same amounts, it doesn't really mean anything. So there's actually not what was it? It was WBD, right? Yeah. And it's like I said, I think it's trading around fair value right now. Like saying it, around $8. I try to discount this with the same leverage kind of calculator. I mean, they have really generated a lot of revenues, but it hasn't turned into net income. So yeah, it's there's so many tickers, and then knowing which ones to look at too. That's another thing too, is like that's really like the basis of these three fundamental, or like once you learned RK style, like the dashboard here and like going through these like the stocks and stuff that are moving, that's to like help you narrow down which ones to look at. And then like the fundamentals tab basically is to like go into each one of those companies and then be able to get like just a quick round idea of what you like about it. Like it's not perfect, but it gives you just enough to kind of see what's going on and give you some like groundwork to build off of. And if it's interesting, as you put it in your database and then you start to keep track of these things, you start to notice like when you see something that like really stands out to you, because like I said, if you looked at 1,000 companies, there's going to be very few that like really look interesting. Most of them you look at within 5 or 10 minutes, you can kind of just be like, I don't really see too much. And me being even more particular, because like I said, I'm trying to really have outsized returns. Most stocks just don't meet that criteria, so it comes down to usually a handful of stocks during the year that I would take a serious position in, and otherwise I have a lot of like ideas that are okay, and I guess I just need to start working on putting small amounts into those. I've been working on that on my portfolio, which if you go to BNED's my huge position right now. I don't know if you followed the streams at all or if you know about BNED, but that's my big position now. That's what I'm super bullish on. And then some of these other names are just smaller positions that I'm in, and I've been in and out of some of these too. Some of them I'm selling slowly out of. And this isn't updated either. So this is from last week at some point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but. Yeah, I think BNED's super compelling, and we'll see. Like I said, we should get news hopefully this next week. It would be awesome if it was this week, but I don't know. It's already Tuesday. I don't know if it matters. I guess it all comes down to when they get their whatever they're doing figured out, which I'm assuming is working on making sure they can sell something. You know, I'm surprised a company this big's not paying, but you know, they do have a lot of debt. I want to see when their debt's due. So another thing too, anytime I look at a company, now they probably have a pretty complicated debt structure because that's a lot of debt. So they imagine it's a bunch of different things. I was gonna say, is this in millions? Because holy crap, I'm not used to looking at companies this big. So when I see these numbers, I'm like, this doesn't look right. But okay, it's in millions. They actually have pretty good interest rates on some of these. You know, so these must be, they're not totally recent. And I like this. I like they show you over time when this stuff is due. So I mean, you know, they have stuff due every year, but it's kind of small in the grand scheme of things. It's really afterwards that a lot of it's due. So yeah, and you know, if you're just getting started, Josh, then you know, index funds and some of that stuff's obviously that's what everybody recommends. Really, I mean, you listen to Buffett and all those guys, they tell you, you know, start with index funds. It's kind of the simple way of learning. You're not going to kill yourself with index funds usually. I mean, I'm sure there's some pretty high risk index funds you can hop into. There definitely ETFs and stuff that are high risk, but usually if you're spreading across an index, I mean, you know, you might get killed if you're only in like one market. You know, like if you were in Russia, that would have been a bad choice. But I mean, you know, who knows? This is probably so negative. But they have a lot of brand names. So like, you know, I try and split between my tangible and intangibles, especially with a big company like this where like I was just saying, all those names that I just listed are all well-known, huge names. They have worth regardless of, you know, what they are worth and whatnot. Who knows? But, you know, this is kind of why I think like Buffett is in Paramount and some of these things, you know, and didn't Paramount just, I think they just split or merged or did something. I can't remember what it was, but you know, I think someone asked at one point, you know, about it, and he said he's like, it's not a great business, and it's not about the business, you know, it's about the assets. It's about what are those assets worth. You know, like I said, the only thing that's kind of ugly about this is just this insane amount of debt here. And I question, with the way these margins look these past 2 years, are all these companies and things that they're acquiring, is that really working for them? Maybe they're going to buy them and spin them off, sell them. Let's take a peek at the owners. Let's see who... This isn't them. Sorry, this website does this to me all the time. I look real quick and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? All right, here. Yeah, so I mean, you know, typical owners of some of this bigger stuff. Yeah, I think this is going to probably trend cheaper, just because of the debt load now, the fact it's not even generating as much cash as it was per share, just because they've now, I mean, you go for 500 million shares to 2.5 or 2.5 billion shares. I mean, that's a huge dilution. Even if you acquired, you know, and this number here is like just negative, but that's after whatever they bought here, and then they tried selling off stuff. So it's, you know, and I could delve more into this. I'll go to Seeking real quick and just see if anyone else is saying anything on it. I heard that the Willy Wonka prequel was decent. I think that's a smarter thing to do. Oh, does Scion have a stake? I'm not even sure. Maybe, who knows? The problem with Burry's stuff too is he's quick. He's in and out of things too. So it's sometimes even when you're looking at his holdings, yeah. Which, I mean, it's a decent holding for him. Advanced Auto Parts. That's one of the ones I've been kicking myself about. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what he ends up doing. And I feel like embarrassed to say this because I'm a huge nerd. I haven't seen either Dune. I didn't see the first part or the second part. So at some point I will watch them. I'm just so behind on it movies and TV in general. I feel like I don't have time to watch these things. So. And Aaron Goldberg is bullish. I mean, there's a lot of people looking at this, so I mean, there's a lot to go through here. Yeah, and that's the other thing too is, I mean, you know, how are all these streaming services going to stand up to each other? I mean, you got to think, you know, everybody's pivoting to streaming, obviously, and everybody wants like a piece of that pie, but I basically just have something that just gets rid of the like the pop-up for me. But yeah, this is what I see when this paragraph right here. I do agree with this because you see all those names, and like, let's say they just went to auction. You know, you could sell these things for a lot. Like, these are all huge names, you know, like every one of these is a big name. Every one of these is something that is worth something, you know, and to the right person could be worth a lot. So to argue that the conglomerate of these isn't worth 21 billion, I'm not saying I don't disagree. Typically the way my valuation works is that you know, it's just kind of looking at like basic book value and taking in cash flow into accounts, and then it adjusts for if it's really levered. But it's tough to take into assets because assets aren't something that's like super easy to calculate, and you never know, someone could pay way down or way up, and you know, it depends on how management does. So that's kind of like, I guess that's more part of the art. But do I think these names are worth a lot a piece? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I mean, 21 billion in general for all these different things, like Lord of the Rings, or I mean, Game of Thrones. Those are billion-dollar franchises just there. You know, Big Bang Theory. I know I don't really watch like those kind of like, you know, generic TV shows, but I know that was super popular. You know, Discovery Channel, everyone knows Discovery Channel. I mean, Warner Brothers Pictures, I mean, that's huge. DC's big. That could be worth $1 billion. You know, CNN, I know their viewership and everything really struggles. Harry Potter, yeah, I mean, you know, we're talking, there's just so many things here that are massive. TBS, TLC, you know, Food Network, that's you know, these are big. HDTV. I mean, you know, my wife could sit there and watch that all day. I think a big thing too with a lot of this as it transitions from like, you know, legacy TV or linear TV, whatever we want to call it, to streaming services is just how well you can monetize all this stuff to actually benefit and make money on these things. You know, and this is another big thing too. So, you know, as they try to monetize these things, the advertisement revenue from TV is really decreasing. People are watching less. You know, people are, you know, as your viewership goes down, you know, if you're advertising on TV, you're going to pay less because you know less people are watching. So I think it's as they get clever on how they make money through ads is the most important thing. And, you know, you got everybody trying to figure out how to do it properly. You got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got, you know, all these guys. So as someone's going to come up with a way to monetize this properly, or whatever is the most efficient. And they're all going to probably do kind of a similar thing. It's not like one person's going to figure it out and have a patent on it. So they're all going to do it, whatever it is that makes the most money. My thing is, you know, I find that there's only going to be a few winners in this category, but to really truly win, you're going to have to eat your competitors. So I wouldn't be surprised if like you watch maybe like 2 or 3 streaming services really dominate, but they're going to have to slowly over time pay for these assets from other companies. Like it's at some point. I think that's part of the reason why I probably would wait on this kind of thing, because I think you're going to watch one of these start to get cheap, and then it's going to make more sense because of the debt load on a company like this to start selling those assets off. Maybe they can pull it off. And if I'm wrong here, it's because they pull it off and they didn't end up selling it as assets. They just ended up succeeding. And he said their debt's in check, and maybe it is right now. Maybe they're you know, net neutral now or positive. But that would be my question. I mean, ESPN, that's another thing. Like they own ESPN. Like, what a massive franchise. You know, he's saying just based on, you know, if you compare it to, he said 33% Comcast share of Hulu, which puts a value on $27.5 billion for a company that isn't profitable and has half the subs of the Warner Brothers Discovery's entire business. So, I mean, he's arguing this could be worth 3 times what it is on that multiple. Yeah, of course. You know, this is what I do. I enjoy this. Like I said, I'm a loser. I just ever since I got into, you know, finance, essentially, I just find it interesting. I like to see how these things work, and you know, just trying in your head to mentally break these things down and figure out what's going on and be able to successfully, you know. And the other thing too, I think that's part of the reason why, you know, deep value appeals to me too, is because it's really contrarian. You know, you're really going against what everyone else is saying. Yeah, I mean, and then people are arguing too that it's, you know, that this is a terrible business and it's not worth anything. See, my thing is, regardless of whether that's right or wrong, this has to get this is why, you know, I'm a value investor, though it's still at heart, is because it has to get cheaper for me to become more interested. Because let's say this gets down to, I don't know, what's it at? It's at $8.38, and I said fair value, I find around $8. You know, this starts to get around like $5, then I'm willing to start to take the risk, because it should be worth more than $5, you know, even with this ridiculous share count. But all right, let me just start to put some of this in now that I'm talking about it here. All right, so there's plenty of owners, a lot of assets on the book. I'm gonna say I put too big, but that's or I think my thing's too large. Whatever the heck. What the heck did I just do? Which isn't necessarily negative. That's just something I like to keep in context because, like I said, I'm usually looking for bigger. I do have different portfolios, though. This isn't my only portfolio. This is just like my riskier, deep value portfolio. So this kind of thing, if I thought it was, you know, worth something, it'd probably go into my other portfolio, which is a lot of bigger companies that I think are good companies in the long run. It's a little too expensive right now. Just needs a little more. I'm not going to count that insider. It has high debt. That's another thing I wanted to just keep track of. And then I'll just put, you know, possible spin-offs, mergers, acquisitions, all that nonsense. So I said about $8. So for me, my margin of safety is around like the low 5s. And I'm somewhat confident with that prediction. Yeah, I did. Actually, that's why I had pulled GME up. But for me, it's still too expensive. I commented quickly earlier in the stream, but all I really said is that it just looks to me like it needs to it just needs to kind of like keep pivoting that business. Like the whole real turnaround idea with GME is that somehow they were going to do something else with the business plan. And don't get me wrong, they got really fortunate with the whole turnaround, and they're sitting on a pile of cash right now. But has it really done anything for shareholders? I mean, at this point, like, I don't know. These numbers all in through here are all still negative. Like, they're still not generating cash flow. So, or very, very little. I mean, they don't have much debt, so don't get me wrong. They're like in a fine position. It's not like it's like anything's going to happen with them. It's more just like when are they going to start to generate some earnings? What are they going to do to really change this business around? And I know there's like diehard, you know, GME people out there. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you what I think makes the most sense. You know, I am a gamer, so not I shouldn't even say that anymore, so I barely get to play. But I don't know. They have all the storefronts. I don't know if just going digital would be enough. I don't know if there's some kind of business there. I don't know what the used game business is like in a digital setting. I don't know, like, is it all like, because I know, like, for instance, like Xbox now has what is it, Xbox Play or something like that, where you pay a subscription fee and you get the games that kind of like cycle to you. Could there be like a GameStop form of that where you pay into it and then they release the games out, like licenses to it? Is that a possibility? And then that way, you know, they're paying like amounts up front and then they're, you know, they cycle stuff on and off. Could they do something like that? I don't know. That's what I picture kind of being the future. If you're talking about, like, I don't know if there's going to be the used game sales market. I know some people like the physical copy, but even games now, like when I was a kid, like when you bought a game, you know, it came with like the booklet and like, you know, you could buy like all kinds of memorabilia and stuff like that. I mean, I know games still have that, but I just don't think it's quite like it used to be. You know, in this age of digital like stuff, like, you know, you don't need a physical copy of anything. You know, I mean, you can just get it in different forms. I know some people like the physical copy, but I just wonder what they're going to do. And I know they talked about possibly, like, you know, the competitive, like esports and all that kind of stuff. And maybe that would be an avenue where they could run tournaments or something like that. I don't know, but right where they are right now, they're too expensive for me. You know. But interesting nonetheless, just because of the cash. I mean, they have plenty of time to figure it out. It's just figuring it out. And it wasn't it. I think Ryan Cohen, isn't he like head of it now or whatever? Like he's really there to just try and see if he can turn it around and figure out what's going on. But like at this point too, like, you know, I don't know if at this price I wouldn't do buybacks, and because the business itself is struggling too, I don't know if I would do dividends here either. So I guess I'd be either looking to, I don't even know what businesses you could acquire that would necessarily benefit them in this spot. It's more just that the business is like they have to do something to pivot this actual business. You know, and the other thing too is maybe they could restructure with the debt to make sure that their leverage is better, so they could, you know, perform better. You know, maybe they could lower the cost of things. That's another big avenue with something like this. You know, especially with tight margins like they have. If you could get it where you could maybe discount, like imagine if you could undercut what other people sell video games at. I don't know if they could do that. Maybe there's a clause against doing that, but like if the average price of a game is $60, but you can always get it for, you know, brand new for $55 at GameStop, you know, I would go to GameStop if I was going to buy a game brand new. That was the option. So I don't know if they could put themselves leverage wise in a position like that where they could sell more copies of things to make up the difference. But and while we're just shooting the shit here, because CTRM is the only other ticker I had pulled up, and to be honest, I don't think I'm going to find much there. I think it just is super cheap right now. But I'll have to pull it up. I know they're kind of like spinning off like their assets left and right here. And the whole CTRM too, I don't know how much I trust all their financial stuff here. But I was just going to see if there's anything updated, if there's any new news or anything, because the past few days I've looked, everything's been kind of... Ever since the comments got deleted. I don't know if you tuned in for that stream, Josh, if you're still in here. But yeah, when the comments got deleted, it kind of killed the Seeking Alpha article a little bit. We did move over to Reddit, but... there wasn't too much else going on here. Yeah, and this is what I was talking to. So this is private investor. I'm assuming because it's the same picture, but yeah, he brought up these are all businesses and stuff that are interested in the whole. Yeah, have a good one, man. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, appreciate it. But yeah, so when I'm looking through here, you know, I'm just looking at some of these name brands, and the thing that I see when I see this is, you know, it's a lot of different names. Is maybe some person might find a little bit of this is worthwhile. Something in here is worth something. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say who would be the biggest beneficial from this and how much they would pay. You know, he brings up that, you know, there's a lot of players in this ed tech space. Sorry if this is super small, guys. I figure I forget I should probably zoom in a little bit here. Sometimes it keeps the zoom, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if it's because it pulled open a new page. But I'm assuming nothing's going on here. No, still no news there. Check Twitter or X. That's already up here. Oh, if you guys haven't checked out this video that BLCM made, this is pretty awesome. It's kind of a link to the old Big Short. But well done, BLCM. If you ever tune into here, man, that video was awesome. I was laughing so hard the first time I saw it. It's the kind of real dedication we need to these companies. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just kind of quiet out there, trying to find if there's any new news or anything else going on that. It's just kind of bouncing around. Prices in the low 60s right now. It got down into the 50s, and it's kind of had a little bit of a bump back this last week or two, which I don't know if it's kind of the same people. You know, I think it's, you know, some of us are talking about this. People are just kind of hearing the name, and people just putting a small position in there just because the upside, you know, with obviously the risk to the downside. Just trying to think if there's anything else to go over. While we're here, I'll just pull this up because this is the last one I'll go through here. This is the other thing too, is like, you know, they list their assets, you know, where they do, and their book value at what they do, and they bought a lot of different vessels, and then they sold them at, you know, pretty big losses and stuff. So it's just, to me, it's like, ugh, I don't know. There's a reason why this is trading at 35 cents. Yeah, and Hendrick had commented on it. Announces the 1 versus 10. Oh, they just did this. I didn't notice they did that. So, the opening of March 27th. So did this happen? Oh, no, it's tomorrow. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. So the share price will be in the $3 range. So how many shares? So they'll have only 9 million shares. Because this is what interests me. The one thing that's interests me about these guys is their debt's not that crazy, and they have this 113. I just want to look at their most recent. This is from 2/29. Yeah, so they have 111 million on their books. They still have almost just above 200, like 2.25. For their vessels. They have 82 in actual debt. I just want to see once again. I've looked at this, like, I feel like a million times. Does it tell you when this stuff's due? Okay, yes. So each year, about a quarter of it's due each year. All right. Then I just wanted to go back to just to see what else is going on. See if anyone brings up any points in these. I was actually one of the last. I commented back in January. Yeah. This is interesting. And they can continue to sell the vessels off, so I mean, there's something there. I guess I'll just update this on. Yeah, so last I looked at them was in January, and I probably don't need to add too much. Yeah, it's all the same stuff. Yeah, there is preferred shares. I forget about that. I just looked at that too. Which, like I said, I'm not really concerned about bankruptcy. So the preferred shares right now don't really scare me. They're not. It's not like I'm planning on getting a dividend from this at all. And then I just want to look at just for shipping purposes. So see, we're at we're at lows for shipping too right now. And this is just Maersk. Is there a better shipping ETF? Well, I don't know what the heck I just did. Bulk shipping ETF. I'm just trying to see how much these match. That's a top holding. Alright, that's kind of useless. Alright, never mind. But more importantly, we're at lows, so that's not helping anything for them at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep them on deck. I don't see too much else going on right there. All right, what time we got here? We got 9 o'clock. Yeah, I don't know if there's too much else I have to go through right now. Like I said, the market's been kind of quiet for me. You know, obviously, I'm kind of tied up in BNED right now, so we'll see if anything else more comes out of this, and if there's any news this week. And if not, it's got to be within the week after that. I guess one last thing I can do is I can just go to my my database here, and we'll go to the watch list, and I'll just, is anything trading? Med's still down. Med's interesting right here. And I get it, the business, you know, it's struggling right now, but do I think in the long run that like they're not gonna survive? I don't know. I think it's cheap right here. Everything else, just keeping an eye on this one too here. I don't have a real big position in them. Yeah, I only have like 1% in them. So even if I would start to, I'll probably just kind of ride that for a little bit, because at this point, I don't think there's much else going on. But yeah, I don't see anything else really. Yeah, all the stuff that I'm watching, you know, is kind of just that essentially. Alright, we'll disable that. We'll clear this out. Alright, guys. Well, if you're still in here, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I guess I'm gonna call it here, just because like I said, I really don't have too much else. If no one has anything that they wanted to look into, I mean, only other things to go over is, you know, I saw Donald Trump's his Truth is now trading. You can trade it, and had a big day. He's got. I mean, he has a lot of supporters, so I think people are going to be buying it on that. But that, I feel like that's going to be all over the place and what that's worth. And is it really worth anything in the long run? I don't know. But yeah, I'm waiting. I mean, I'm looking at these insider names too, and it's like nothing in here is really. I still should have bought MicroStrategy. It was a 10-bagger for when I told my brother to consider it. That would have been the Bitcoin play. I called it too, and I just was stupid enough not to take my own word for it. I should have just taken a small position. That's why I'm saying in this portfolio, and I think RK, you know, got to the same conclusion, is that, you know, you are going only in like a few names like heavier, and I don't think he would have ever gone as heavy as I did. And I'm sure as this portfolio expands, I probably won't go quite as heavy. But it just depends. BNED kind of, you know, caught me off guard with everything that was going on, and then as it went down, I still kept, you know, I just am bullish on the thesis. I still just don't see it falling apart. So I've taken a really large position, which I'm fine with, you know, especially in this portfolio. That's the whole point, is to take those large positions like that when you're confident in something. But other than that, you know, like I said, I don't see too much else right now that's really catching my name. So it's just kind of parking some cash and things, because you just don't want too much cash sitting around, especially with, you know, inflation like it's been. You know, and then the only issue is like this stuff's all over the place, you know. But I guess maybe if we have another pullback, maybe I'll consider MicroStrategy. Or it's just tough for me as a value investor. Like I have to like wrap my head around these things. And don't get me wrong, like I've read technical analysis books too, so it's not like I don't think technical analysis is like there's something to it. I do, you know. but it's just trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. I guess I could start doing that in the streams too. Just go through some of the charts, just keep an eye on things, because sometimes, you know, when that's a problem. Sometimes this dashboard, it's like there's so much going on here, and just some names you just kind of miss because they're not really moving, and like, you know, it catches my eye when there's a big move, but let's say something's moving like 1% and it's doing it every day, and like, you know, it just I might miss it because of that, because it doesn't catch my eye, and you know, or doing the exact opposite and it's getting cheaper and cheaper, and it really should guide you towards companies that are, you know, in sectors that are cheap. All right. Well, like I said, Johnny will be on Thursday, so I hope everybody has a good night. Josh, I know you said you bounced, but thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Anybody else who's been watching, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll get some news. We'll keep things updated, and then we're doing our stream Saturday, but the only thing is the market closes on Friday, so hopefully, I don't know, maybe we'll just keep going into stuff we're already into, or we'll keep going. Maybe I'll go through my on deck list. I haven't done that in a while, because that's still, the on deck list is still like 200 companies, although I tend to look at a lot of those or see the names pop up often, so I do keep up on those ones more so than just the rest of them. But maybe we can do that on Saturday, or I don't know. We'll figure out something, because like I said, Johnny's going to cover all the tickers and stuff from Thursday, so markets close Friday, so there won't be anything changed from that time. So maybe we'll dig into some of that stuff, and or just look through some of these different industries type stuff, and see if we can find anything that looks interesting, or maybe lead us in the right direction. We could start to go through some of the fund managers. I know Josh brought up Scion, which we've kind of went through some of the interesting picks from Scion, but yeah, we'll figure it out from there. So hope everybody has a good rest of your week. Hope everyone has a nice Easter if you celebrate. And yeah, Johnny will see you guys Thursday, and hopefully we get some BNED news. Still just waiting to hear. But all right, cheers guys.